Hi and welcome to the Bitmap Graphics and Editing Tools presentation. It was created by and done by Gustavo Sacramento, Mustafa Sheikh, and Asher Weisblatt, also known as Grandpa. So we're going to start off with bitmapping, which will be me. And here are some key terms. Bitmapping. So a bitmap is basically a grid. Think of it as one of the grids you have in math class. Now they vary in size depending on the size file, and also the larger the data, such as a large video or 3D video, will have greater amounts of individual pixels in it. Now you may be asking, what is a pixel? Pixels are tiny components that fill a bitmap graph. They are the individual squares in the grids. Each pixel can represent a different color. Each pixel has its own data. This data is comprised of binary data, such as zeros and ones from here, and this would represent a pixel, making a nice, happy face. Now, the more pixels there are, the more data. It's causal in both directions. So more data, more pixels. Now, here are some traits of a bitmap. It's resolution dependent, which means if you make it larger, there's a trade-off in image quality. Now, when you reduce it, what happens is there's a reduction in pixels to compromise because it has to fit in the same file size. More importantly, when you make it larger, it creates new pixels. Now, there is a problem here because the image quality will go down. The reason being is because of this process that computers do called interpolation, where the computer guesses the color value of new pixels. Don't get confused with this with scaling, which is when they make the overall pixels larger by expanding it. Now, that means they won't create any new pixels, but the pixels that are created are larger, and it can make a very jaded picture, as shown in here. Now, here are some good things about bitmaps. First, they're easily convertible. Why? Because a bitmap is just a square of rectangles. It's very convertible. You can save it in different formats, from JPEG to .png to other formats. Now, the only problem with bitmaps is that it's not transparent at all. There isn't another layer of pixels behind the original layer of pixels, which means that there's no possible way to have transparency. To do that, you need to use something called vectors, but that's not under the scope of this presentation. Now, finally, editing with bitmap. Remember, it is a grid. It is similar to translating a function on a coordinate graph. Editing bitmap graphs means editing individual pixels. The bitmap graph is essentially a coordinate plane of the image's pixels. Let's look at a bitmap editor, as we have in the bottom here. Look, it's a nice golden fish, like Sherman's drowning fish always. Now, at this point, you see how you can change the picture and edit it slightly by changing the individual pixels as well. Now we're going to move on to different editing softwares.
So the three main editing tools are photo editors, video editors, and audio editors. Now, in terms of photo editors, you have a number of different categories because photography alone is a pretty large field. Photo enhancers automatically take a picture and enhance it so the user doesn't have to manually do it. Online editors, for desktop editors, so on and so forth, including photo editing mobile apps, they all perform the same function of allowing the user to manually alter the picture, with the only difference being in their platform. So online editors are browser-based, free desktop editors are downloaded but not paid for, and paid desktop editors are both downloaded and paid for. And Photoshop is the most well-known example of it. Here's the logo of Photoshop. HDR photo editors. HDR stands for high dynamic range. This means you have a larger range between light and dark. It means you can do more with shading and coloring. Cross-platform image editors mean that you can alter it both on Windows and on Mac. Photo filters are pretty ubiquitous at this point. They're anything from Snapchat and Imagers to Creative Kit 2016. Essentially, it's just adding an overlay on top of a picture. And photo editing mobile apps are just on a smartphone. RAW processors take RAW, which doesn't actually stand for anything. They're just raw pictures, usually straight out of a DSLR camera, and they allow the user to manually alter the picture. And photo viewers and managers are also pretty ubiquitous at this point. They allow for easier organization of your photos.
Okay, so there are three major video editors that are available out there. The first is Windows Movie Maker. It's free for Windows, so there's easy access. It has effects, transitions, you can add titles, credits, audio tracks, and a timeline narration to your videos so that it transitions seamlessly. Now, the second major video editor out there is VirtualDub. It's a powerful, free, cool features editor, which has a lot of features like out there. So there's compression, video splitting, addition of audio tracks, and you can actually deal with larger files, and you can add in some filters to create an aesthetically pleasing video. And the third major video editor out there is Blender. It's free, it's open source, 3D content creation. There's a modifier-based modeling tools, node-based material, powerful character animation, and the bonus for this is that it's both Windows and Mac, so compatibility shouldn't be an issue with Blender. And now we have audio editors. So again, there's three major options out there. The first is Audacity. It's completely free. There's a simple user interface, and it supports popular audio formats such as MP4 or MP3, and it's a multi-platform support. The second one is Adobe Audition. Multi-track editing, mixing environment. It has a similar user interface to Adobe products, and there's expert tutorials in case you want to up the ante and increase like the quality of your audio. And the third major audio editor out there is Linux Multimedia Studio. So it's completely free. It has professional user interface, so this isn't for like amateurs, but if you need the additional like options to edit your audio, this is out there, and there's even more available plugins out there for you to add to your audio editor. And these are the websites cited: petapixel.com, Filmora, Wondershare.com, bbomb.com, and bbc.co.uk. And that is our screencast.
What a trademark is it's a sign to say the goods